NBC7 News Today begins with breaking news.
And we begin with that breaking news. It's coming out of North Park right now, where crews are responding to a broken water main.
This is on Hamilton Street near Lincoln Avenue, if you're familiar with the area. NBC7's Liberty Zabala just got there a little while ago, and Liberty, there's a lot of water out there in the street right now.
Well, Greg and Marianne, it is a wet mess out here right now. We do see officers on scene. They are blocking this area at Polk Avenue and Oregon Street. And over here, there are crews from the water department here as well. But I want to show you what's going on here. This is the North Park Community Park. And take a listen right now. That is the sound of gallons and gallons of water just gushing into the street right here, and it's leaking down several streets. We just talked to one neighbor who came out of her home this morning who told us that she found water entering her home down this way. We saw another man just sweeping all the water away from his house. Right now, we are waiting to get information from the water department. They tell me that their supervisor is going to come out here and try to give us more information. But right now, we know that some streets in this area are blocked off. We are on Polk Avenue and Oregon Street. Down there is University. That's blocked off by one patrol car. And then on that side, down in that direction, that is Idaho Street, where another patrol car is blocking off that area so that cars in this area don't drive through all of this water that you see right here. We are working to get more information from the water department about what exactly burst here, what kind of water main, where the water is coming from. We are going to work to get that for you. Meanwhile, we do plan to move our live shot location because it appears that the sergeant on scene is at a different location and he can get us more information for you. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Quite a mess. Okay, thank you, Liberty. That breaking news in North Park, we showed you images just a moment ago. A water main break is creating a huge mess there. Let's get right out to Liberty Zabala. Liberty, what are they doing to stop the water and clean this up?
Well, Greg, they are working to shut off all this water, but let me show you. This is not a river I am standing in, even though it looks like it. It is all that water, gallons and gallons of water that is rushing through people's homes, people's apartment complexes here right now. I spoke with a neighbor just a few moments ago who tells me she knows a woman who lives in this apartment complex over here, and she says that all this water has gushed into her living room and that she is trapped inside. Now, what we know from the water department is that it may have been caused by a 30-inch pipe that burst near Oregon and Polk. That is where our last live shot was right now. We have seen several neighbors in this area trying to divert the water from all of this rushing into their homes. It is going into the street. It is going into people's cars near their tires. We have seen people just stare at this in the street, neighbors concerned about it going into their cars, into their homes. And we also know that several police officers have blocked off the neighboring streets in this area as well to make it a safe situation for anyone driving through this area. But we are waiting to get an update from the supervisor of the water department. We are working to get more information, but you can see just the mess left behind. Neighbors here are just really upset about these water main breaks. One neighbor told me it's old pipes and old plumbing, and that a lot of homes here are going to be impacted, and that the city is going to see a lot of insurance claims. But we will follow up with the city on this, and we will bring you the latest information as soon as we get it. But as you can see, you guys, it's just a huge mess out here, and many neighbors here are upset and just want this to be off very soon.
Yeah, and Liberty, even when they have managed to turn the water off, this is going to be something that's going to last all morning long. And we can see those cars parked there on the side of the road. I don't know if you're able to see, is water actually making it into any of those cars along the street?
I have not seen the water go into any of the cars, which is good news to the people who are parked along this street, but it is getting significantly high up on their tires right now. And yes, all of these neighbors here are going to be dealing with their flooding inside their apartments, fixing their carpets. Hopefully their furniture is not all soaking wet, but they're going to wake up to a huge hassle this morning, especially if they're trying to get into work. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, you guys.
And let's get right to that breaking news we've been following this morning. It's in North Park, that huge water main break there.
The pictures are pretty incredible. And these are pictures from earlier on. The flow is not so heavy right now, but our Liberty Zavala has found a homeowner whose house has flooded. Is that right, Liberty?
That's right, Marianne and Greg, and some relief to many of the neighbors in this area. It appears the water has been shut off from that broken water main. Remember that river that I showed you in my last live shot? You can see now the water has reduced down to a trickle along those steps, but now that this water has been shut off, neighbors here are just thinking about the cleanup. And I want you to meet one of those neighbors, Joe Carta. Joe, your house was flooded by that river coming down, right?
Yeah, you wake up to a flood coming right down your driveway into the bottom floor of your house. It's pretty unusual.
Definitely unusual, and a lot for you to handle being woken up in the middle of the night. And for your neighbors here, what emotions were running through you when you saw all of that gushing into your home?
Well, originally I thought it was a rainstorm, but I went outside, I realized it wasn't rain, and then when I realized it was probably a water main break, I thought we live in North Park. I actually thought maybe the North Park Tower had sort of exploded or something, and that's what covered the North Park with all the water that we have to deal with now in the coming days.
And it was not just gushing into your home, it was gushing through these entire streets near these cars, taking dirt and leaves into your home. What are you worried about right now?
Well, as anybody else is worried about, is a water intrusion and mold, frankly, in your own home and breathing and things like that. So I just hope that all the neighbors that live in the area that don't have to deal with those problems.
And we also spoke to one of your other neighbors. There were a bunch of people out here just watching this happen helplessly. Some of them even trapped inside their apartments, unable to get out. Their living rooms flooded. What have you known from those neighbors or heard from them?
Well, what I've heard is that a couple people were trapped in their home and their apartments are flooded and that they have to deal with the cleanup now.
And what is this a worse nightmare for you and your neighbors right now, all along Hamilton Street right here? Not something you want to wake up to.
Not at all. And yeah, it's pretty bad, but it doesn't seem like anybody was injured or hurt. And that's the most important thing. It doesn't appear to anything like that has happened.
That's the good news, right? And it does appear, according to the water department, that this was maybe caused by a 30-inch cast iron pipe that burst. What's your reaction to that?
Well, you know, the city is going through a transformation and getting all their plumbing and all their drain lines and all their water lines repaired over the years. So this is probably, it may not be the first time this happens. Hopefully it is, but hopefully it never happens again.
Hopefully you guys, and hopefully you and your neighbors will be able to clean all this up. We do know, you guys, that the Red Cross is on scene to help neighbors just like Joe and all the neighbors here affected by that water entering their homes. They're coming with supplies, but for now, this is the scene here on Hamilton Street. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
And let's get right to that breaking news. Wow, look at the images right there. A huge water main break in North Park. We've been bringing you reports and those pictures all morning long.
And let's check in with NBC7's Liberty Zavala. Things have kind of calmed down now. It's not that gushing water that we saw there on the steps there, but Liberty, the damage has been done.
That's right, Marianne. Some relief to neighbors. The water is off right now, but here's the situation. Now the cleanup begins for many upset and shocked neighbors this morning, including Joe Carta, who you met in the last live shot. And Joe, this is his home. He welcomed us into his home graciously. Joe, tell us how this water rushed through. It appears it rushed through your landscaping, right? Take us through the damage.
Well, it's kind of interesting. You wake up in the morning and water's rushing to your house. Your landscaping that you had is now rushing towards your house and into your garage and flooding your garage. That's now the cleanup begins.
And your landscaping here, it destroyed your plants, I'm assuming. What's the cleanup going to be for you out here?
Well, again, let's see what the cleanup is. I just have to figure out where we're at. I'll have to start calling some of the professionals out and having it taken care of, yeah.
All right, and then take us through. It went through from that river we saw earlier, down your driveway, all this dirt into your driveway. What are you worried about now in terms of the dirt entering your home? It didn't just take water into your home.
Right, it did. You can see the debris and all the things that come along with it. All my personal property in my garage is now been pretty much rendered useless. Now I guess it all goes to the dump.
All right, and let's take us inside right now. You can see where the water went up into your home along this line. Can we take the camera down here? How high did it get up?
I would say between 3 and 6 inches is where the water line had got to, and it now has subsided back now that they've got the water shut off.
And over here, I mean, you also had electrical wires down there. If Shane, you can get a shot down there. Is it relief to you that it was on top of the scooter and not on the ground? What happened?
Exactly. The relief is that everybody's okay, I'm okay, and the damages can be cleaned up, but now the damage cleanup begins.
And one more thing, let's walk over here. This is all where you store furniture. What else is damaged over here on this side?
All my Christmas lights and all that we just took down for the holiday season was all getting ready to be stored into my cabinets, but they were on the ground right now, so most of that's probably ruined.
Oh, and I'm so sorry, but we wish you well. We're glad you're not hurt. Your home has some damage, but everything can be hopefully cleaned up for you very soon. Now, if you are watching and one of the people who were trapped inside their homes, we did get reports of people trapped during that water rushing and their homes flooded. I want to tell you that the Red Cross is on scene to help you. They do have a command center posted up on Oregon Street near Hamilton and Oregon, or Howard Avenue rather, so you can get supplies from them over there. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Wow, Liberty, what a scene there. Okay, thank you so much.
And for those of you who live in that area, this is a better view of the area that's affected. Hamilton Street is where the water main break occurred, where you saw that gushing water. So it's a 5 square block area that we're talking about, and some street closures to tell you. Idaho Street between University and Polk, University Avenue between Idaho Street and Arizona, and also Lincoln Avenue between Idaho Street and Hamilton. So those are the areas that you want to avoid this morning.
And that breaking news is in North Park, where people are dealing with quite a mess this morning. Some flooded homes after a huge water main break there.
NBC7's Liberty Zabala has been there early on this morning, and she has an update with the damage and the leftover. Liberty, what do you have?
Well, Mariana and Greg, neighbors are just trying to figure out how to clean all of this up. As you can see, the water now is nothing more than a small trickle. But to give you an idea of just how powerful this water was gushing, it carried things like this debris, a child's toy, all the way over here, rocks and dirts all along this street. This is Hamilton Street. But moments ago, earlier this morning, if you remember, all this water was gushing down this staircase here. It was like a river, and I want you to hear how powerful and fast moving this water was. Take a listen. Hear that? That is the sound of gallons and gallons of water gushing from that busted water main in North Park. It appears to have been a 30-inch diameter cast iron pipe that broke near the North Park Community Park. Now, we have talked to several neighbors out here who say that they were even trapped inside their apartments as all this water was gushing into their homes. They say their homes were flooded, and many neighbors here are just worried about what's going to happen in terms of mold entering their homes, dirt. We talked to several neighbors who are just dealing with all of this morning since it broke at around 2:30 this morning. Many streets have been blocked off here, but back out here live, as you can see, there are even some neighbors here just trying to figure out what to do at this point. Some of them are just glad that this water did not gush into their cars. But right now they are just trying to get help that they need. We know that the Red Cross is on scene to help them out. They do have a command center posted for them up near Howard Avenue and Oregon Street, and they can get supplies over there. But for now, you guys, this is the mess that they're dealing with right now. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.